Saying goodbye to Michael is too sad by far. He was such a dear friend and probably the most useful friend the seminar ever had. Michael served on the faculty here in 10 sessions. One of those sessions about 25 years ago was called Coordinating National Economic Policy. Plus ça change, as they say. And he attended 17 more sessions. He served on the board of the seminar for 16 years, 13 of those years as vice president. Michael was a man of peace, not of war, and I think that's why he was so faithful to the Salzburg seminar. I think he saw it as an instrument of peace, and he was so committed to advancing our effectiveness in the world. He was a grand and lovely man, and it's commonplace to say that we'll miss somebody, but however long the Salzburg seminar lasts, it will always be poorer without the wisdom and humor and help that Sir Michael gave us for so many years, alas.
I was trying to figure out how I would describe to somebody else about Michael, and not meaning to be too irreverent, but there's a character in the Charlie Brown comic strips called Pigpen, and he walks around and he's got this little aura of dust that's with him. And Michael was like that, but with kind of this fairy dust that kind of shrugged off on all of the people that he was around. And you always felt a little lighter and a little better and a little more capable after you were in the presence of Michael Palliser. He truly was my mentor here, and it's really hard to come back here and not have him just around, and we will all miss him so much. And I feel as if he is still here in a way, because I expect to round the corner and see him.
He was from the war generation, and he believed intensely in Europe all his life. And it wasn't just that he believed in Europe, he believed in Britain's role in Europe. That Britain was important to Europe just as Europe was important to Britain, and that the way forward for Britain was as in close collaboration, in partnership, in association with the other countries of the now European Union. And the lasting disappointment at the end of his life is, I suppose, the disappointment of all of us who've put our career into Europe, is what a mess Europe has been making of itself. I first knew Michael when he was permanent representative in Brussels, and I was serving in Bonn. And I was sent by my ambassador in Bonn, Nico Henderson, to see him. He changed my life, because when I went to see him, what I didn't know was that he was interviewing me for my next job. Because he was going to be permanent undersecretary in the Foreign Office, and he was looking for a new head of his policy planning staff. And that changed my life and changed my career and put me on the European course that I followed in my subsequent career in the Foreign Office ever since. And I owe all that, for better or worse, to Michael. People have described his bridge-building, peacemaking role. He was also a great synthesizer. He could pull together people's views. When he was permanent undersecretary, that's what he did. He'd hold an office meeting, there'd be conflicting views. And somehow or other, he could pull it all together and make sense and come to an outcome which everybody could share. The best tribute that we, who are in a position to do so at least, can pay to him is to try and continue the work that he started all those years ago and which is in such trouble now.
Coming here and having Sir Michael around kind of developed a paternalistic care. And he was such a gentleman, but a very gentle man. Absolutely unassuming. You've heard about the pedigree and his achievements, but he never, ever was someone you did not feel you could speak to. And he gave you a feeling that you were important, he listened, he was a good guide. And my memories of him are really, again, at the Bucks Club, where the Bucks Fizz was invented. And Michael would organize these wonderful dinners where he would have some of us around and he would want to discuss things to do with the seminar, with the European Union, and my memories of sitting with him in the Bucks Club and having all these discussions were absolutely remarkable. We will miss him a lot, but to me, he lives on. He lives on because I think what he imparted to all of us, to the institutions that he was associated with, 21st Century Trust came together with Salzburg, and the fact that he lived those values, I think, is very important. And of course, he'll be phenomenally missed, and I think what we can do to honor his memory is really to make sure that we continue to perpetuate the values and what he stood for. He will live on, and I think it was a great privilege to know a man like Sir Michael Palliser.
He was a bridge builder, and he had a certain sort of wonderful and very dignified body language, but what he was able to show was that you had his complete attention. Sir Michael treated absolutely everybody as an individual of equal worth and encouraged people to give of their best. He was, of course, the master diplomat, not merely professionally, but in everything he did. There was a later board meeting, and one of our board members had become rather excitable and had delivered a piece of high-flown rhetoric, and it was over to Michael to respond. And what he managed to do, it was almost magical, was he paid complete respect to the speaker, and he completely demolished his arguments. He was a very, very fine linguist. There is only one known Englishman whom General de Gaulle praised for speaking French, and that was Sir Michael Palliser. He came from that generation, and I would say, in a sense, he was one of the finest representatives of that generation who went through the Second World War and understood absolutely that there must be a way of that not happening again. Michael really directed his life in so many ways to working on that. It was an absolute privilege to have known Sir Michael Palliser.